Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Number One Guitar JazzFest Edition, Episode 7, with none other than my very good friend, Mr. Jeffrey Krauss. Jeff Krauss. And he leads up Broke Down Gramophone in New Orleans, playing JazzFest in a few weeks time, or this is going to be the JazzFest edition, so in a couple days he's going to be at JazzFest. It is my pleasure to have you here, man. Thank you for making the time. Fresh off of you told me you were writing horn parts for the JazzFest gig. It's exciting. I'm excited for you. I'm gonna be in the front row.
I appreciate that. I'm excited too. Still a little surreal. Like feels unreal even though it's coming up. But yeah, it's great. I'm excited.
It's a good stage. It's a big stage.
Yeah.
Play it and enjoy the shit out of it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you get up and you play the guitar.
Yeah.
It really doesn't make a difference where it is, but I'm quite sure I've seen you play live. I'm sure you're going to turn it up a little. You're going to throw some surprises for JazzFest. I get that.
Bring in some friends.
Bring in some friends.
Yeah.
Or we'll get there. We'll get there in a second. We met. Jeff and I met. We met a couple. I don't exactly remember how long ago it was, but we met at the Ozone Songwriter Festival. We'd never met before. We sat together on stage. And became friends, and it's been very much like New Orleans. It's a melting pot of different styles and different idioms and all sorts of stuff. We play different music, and we hang out and get along just the same. It's not like it's a different community down here for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start like I do all these. Let's start with your earliest musical memory and your biggest musical influence. I mean, this is your number one guitar. We will get to this guitar, and we'll get to this fancy chip on the edge of the guitar. We'll get there, but let's start at the early Jeff and early music. Well, how's that go?
Yeah, I started out, I was always into music when I was younger. I remember digging through record collections in the living room. My dad had a small collection, but I was always, digging through and trying out all sorts of stuff, and I got hooked on this swing record, this old school, big band swing record, and that made me.
Remember who?
It was some compilation thing.
Okay.
But just hooked on the record. I always wanted to put that one on, and then started playing saxophone because that's what we had in the house, and got very into jazz saxophone as deep as I could get into it, and just learning everything about it, and then went to school for one semester as a jazz saxophone player, and about face was like, nope, this isn't it. This is not what I want to do. And I'd been playing guitar for a while, but made a drastic U-turn switch into learning everything I could about the guitar and getting better at that because I started writing songs, and that made more sense.
Can't play chords on a saxophone.
No, you cannot. can't sing
while playing. Well, maybe you can.
It sounds wild.
A little tricky to do.
Yeah.
But that was it. So hey, growth is not. It's not always easy, but it's always good.
Yeah.
So you grew up. I'm sure you were writing the horn parts. Obviously, you didn't. You're still involved in this in horns to a degree,
little
to a small
not
degree.
much. Don't call me for a horn gig. That's for sure.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, understood. So you this is college. You went for jazz sax in college.
Yeah.
And then that didn't happen. You pushed to guitar. Was there a specific guitar player that you're like, I want to be that guy, or was it the songwriting that pulled you in?
It started with songwriting, but then I got wildly wrapped up in the guitar as an instrument and everything about learning how to be a guitar player. I actually kind of forgot about songwriting for a while, even though that was the propellant to get me to want to play guitar. I got consumed by playing. I guess it went through a few different phases. Because I was so familiar with jazz, there was a Joe Pass period where I was really into that thing, and spent a bunch of time working on that. But eventually I started just feeling that drawback to songwriting, and when I did that, I guess it kind of morphed into Warren Haynes. Ended up being
that's your guy. He's a hell of a guitar player.
Yeah.
And a great storyteller.
Oh really?
With the guitar.
I see what you mean.
As a soloist, it's not noodly stupid shit all day long. He's a good storyteller on the guitar.
Yeah.
So he was your guy.
Yeah. I think that's probably the main one.
Any teachers? Do you have most guys that sit in your chair, including this guy? my early the guy who put me on the guitar, who started to say, no, this is actually an art and a science at the same time, was a fellow named Frank Turner. He was a hard ass motherfucker. But he would tell me, he would say, Chris, he called me Chrissy, he would say, don't ever have straps on your guitar, because if you have straps on your guitar, you're standing up.
Oh, yeah.
And you're not paying attention to what you're playing. Old
Yeah.
school jazz cat. Who was your guy?
So I had kind of two through I mean, unfortunate circumstances. So I ended up going to school as a guitar performance major after that, after a long stint out of school. And I got my ass handed to me. Like, I barely made it in because I didn't really know much about I knew how to play music, but I didn't really know much about the instrument. And I was straight up told, they're like, you're gonna have a hard time. I was like, okay, cool, let's go. And the first teacher,
you got in though.
Yeah, just literally the bare minimum of points. Like he told me, he's like, you know. But my first teacher was Mike Elliott.
He told you snuck by.
Yeah. He straight up told me. He's like,
you got a D+. Come on in.
Like, he was like, you scored the bare minimum number of points. He's like, you're gonna get your ass kicked, and I'm like, that's why I'm here.
All right, fair enough.
And I did. I absolutely got just put through the ringer because I was not well enough versed on the instrument compared to what most everybody else was. So it was trial by fire real fast. So I had, my first teacher was Mike Elliott, who's a monster. Actually, if you're into the Joe Pass stuff, you should check out his stuff if you haven't.
Mike Elliott. Okay.
Mike Elliott, yeah. And unfortunately, he was pretty ill by the time I started studying with him, and then passed away a year or so later. And then started studying with Bobby Stanton after that, and both of them just absolute monster players in two different ways. Like Mike Elliott in the chord melody kind of solo playing style,
Killer Joe Pass style.
Yeah, like Joe Pass, and then kind of takes it to even a more developed kind of writing style combined with that. Like he's really great. And then Bobby Stanton, just the technical master, the guy that knows every single voicing, arpeggio, whatever, the thing is just an extension of his body, but knows everything and can play it fast and crazy and whatever else. So those are the two that.
And where are these guys? Where were these guys? Or where's the one gentleman and hopefully still the other guy's still around?
Yeah, Bobby's. Where did he end up? He's up. I want to say. I think he might be back in Boston. They're both Berkeley teachers that then came to McNally Smith in St. Paul, Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and we're teaching out of that school when I was there. But I think Bobby's back over at Berkeley now. I'm not sure about that though.
I should have said that before. In the melting pot that is New Orleans, you're from Minnesota.
Yes, yeah, North Dakota, Minnesota here, yeah.
From North Dakota too.
Yeah.
From North Dakota and Minnesota to JazzFest in 2025. Jesus Christ,
right.
Man, it's a strange life.
It's wild.
It's not an easy life that we choose, but Jesus Christ, it's varied. Okay, tell you that much.
Just wrote my my complicated relationship with New Orleans song the other week. So, because it's a ride.
It's a ride.
Yeah.
It's a ride. What's the name of the song?
Dance Down Dumaine.
Dance Down Dumaine, Dumaine Street in New Orleans. All right, let's go there. All right, so you learn from obviously from your explanation, heavy hitter jazz guitar player. When we sit down, when you and I sit down on songwriting stages, I hear a songwriter, not a jazz guitar player, and that's with all respect. That you're a hell of a fucking writer, and you're not hitting 300 beats a minute on Joe Pass chord melody stuff.
Yeah.
So you use the guitar. What is the guitar to you in music?
Yeah, that was a long. I'm absolutely glad that I went down that journey. Mm-hmm. That was a long journey of figuring out what the hell I was doing relative to music anyway, right? So
ongoing.
yeah, right. Yes. But the big shift was I spent a lot of time playing in corporate cover band stuff, playing weddings and corporate parties and stuff just to make a buck, and that was just that was draining, right? I mean that
had to use your stage voice.
had to use my stage voice. Yeah, I was singing and playing guitar in those, and like, yeah, it was wild. There's, oh man, I'm sure on social media you can dig up some pictures of me in my clean cut, tie and black shirt days and whatever.
No beard.
A little tiny, like little chin strappy beard.
Fair enough.
At that time. Yeah, it was just personally draining, right? There's no art in it, right? And then after that, for a while, trying to make a buck, out of school and trying to figure out how to make $1 playing the guitar, I realized that wasn't the point. Like, that's not why I did all that. And then I like really, really gravitated back towards songwriting, and like, it's like, all right, so how do I learn how to actually write? How to figure that out? And just started spending most of my effort and time doing that. And yeah, I think there's some people who can really, really craft a song in a jazz style, but I just didn't fit for what I was gravitating to, for what I like to listen to. It wasn't the jazz stuff. It was always more folk kind of based, and started just really digging into those styles.
Well, then I have two questions.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your inspiration? And these may be the same question, but I don't think they are. Who's your inspiration for songwriting? Mm-hmm. Who's the person that you want to emulate?
Yeah,
we're both adults here, but neither one of us want to be somebody else.
Right. Yeah.
But someone who you have a tremendous respect for as a writer, and then I'm going to back that up with, who is the songwriter that you know, or that, in your opinion, uses the guitar as a songwriter in a way that you have a lot of respect for?
Ooh, all right. First one's easy. First one's Jason Isbell. Like that.
Oh, he's fucking killer.
I think
as a writer or as a guitar
as a writer
player?
I mean, he's a really solid guitar player too, but like definitely the writing.
The writing, okay.
So that's a vivid memory. I was backing up a friend, a singer-songwriter friend, and we were on this long road gig where we were driving like 3 hours to the gig or something like that. And she had been a singer-songwriter for quite a while, and we were going out to one of her favorite spots, and she said something. She's like, "Oh, the like Southeastern by Jason Isbell," and I was like, "What?" And she's like, "You've never heard this record before?" I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Get that CD thing out of the floor, pull it out, put it in, and just listen to it front to back." And I was just like,
"He's killer."
Holy hell! Like, I couldn't believe it. And that record too. That whole record's a masterpiece. And I was just like, that was kind of my.
Is that the one with the elephant song on it? Holy Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
My mother, well, I'm going to start to cry now. My mother passed from cancer.
Yeah. And
I remember hearing that. I was like, Jesus Christ. Not an easy one to listen to.
No.
And not a rousing crowd favorite. I'm not a rousing party pleaser.
No.
But a hell of a song.
Yeah. Also, tip of the hat, this was later. I took a while to figure it out, but I actually just saw John Moreland last night, and same kind of thing. Like, that was an hour and a half, just like, take your heart out.
John Moreland.
Yeah, okay, definitely check that out.
Take notes, kids.
Yeah.
John Moreland.
That's how you write lyrics, for sure.
Okay.
So yeah,
and I'll take that note too. I don't know John, but I'll check him out. You give him the recommendation. I'm checking him out.
Yeah, for sure. So those two writers for sure. And I also, John Moreland very much sticks to the acoustic, quiet kind of setting. Played solo last night. But Jason Isbell, I think, does a really great job at building the band around, like, he's got these songs that are so thick and lyrically dense, and then he'll step up and have a great band behind him and go, here's a show too, right? So I think he does that very well. As far as like specific guitar playing, implementing in, I don't know if I can peg like one person on that. Like, I always loved, like the Texas blues stuff, like Stevie Ray Vaughan. I had a huge, like, I'm gonna listen and learn all the Stevie Ray Vaughan licks I can figure out. But I don't know if, like, I wouldn't call that the songwriting that I'm into. So
fair enough. Yeah, that was more of a, I mean, it was an amalgam. Stevie Ray Vaughan was the guitar and the vocal. Yeah. It was a lot of guitar, let's put it that way.
Right.
And the songs were good.
Yeah.
But it was a lot
straight
of
up
straight blues.
Yeah. Which is cool, and I dig that, but that's not where I wasn't trying to, emulate the traditional blues thing.
Fair enough.
So, I don't know if I have a specific somebody who uses the guitar as a writing thing.
There's no answer,
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, hopefully it's Jeff Krauss.
I mean, I hope so.
I've seen you, but it's in a songwriting setting, sometimes guitar players, the guitar playing is the afterthought. It's much more the story, sure. And it's and as such. Now that you talk about the jazz stuff that you're talking about, it makes an awful lot of sense because your songs sound different. And if a song, sometimes songwriters will focus very heavily on the lyrics, and the guitars can kind of the progressions can be very similar from one song to the next. It's not the case with you. Right. They might be good songs, but they're similar sounding. You fire away with they're very, very different. It's always you. It's always your stories, but the accompaniment is very different.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What's the process there? Do you set out? Do you set out to do? Okay, this is a progression that I haven't used before, or I've been running through 1-6-2-5s too much. I'm leaning on things too much. I'm going to spin it around. What do you do? If anything.
No,
that's a hard question.
Yeah, that goes in phases. I think, like long-term phases. Like I think for about a year, I wrote 3-chord, simple, just like heart-wrenching sad songs. It's just like that's all I was doing, and it was just like all about the lyrics and the setup, and I wasn't paying any attention really to the guitar part. It was very much an afterthought. And then I turned around and was like, wow, I've got 15 really slow sad songs. I was like, what am I gonna do with all this?
I'm with you, brother.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I can release one of these and the rest of them sound the same.
Right. And I think that's kind of important. I think it's very important, right? For songwriting in general, whatever you're writing, how do you write a great song? Write 1,000 shitty ones.
Write 1,000 shitty ones.
Yeah, so it's like,
right about that. There's no hack.
Yeah, so I think that's fine because 2 or 3 of those made it out of the pile, and the other ones they're like, maybe they could get reworked, but I don't need 15 slow sad songs. So then some of it is conscious of like trying to go like, all right, so how do we make this thing, this song with this. Usually, most of my lyrics are sad. How do we make this song be able to have a little bit more life to it and feel a little bit more up?
Do you go to theory for that? Do you go to your knowledge of theory?
I don't think so. No. I teach a lot of guitar lessons, and I tell students all the time, like, theory for me, and the way that I see it, it's like, it is useful in very specific instances to help you get from A to B quicker, but I don't think about it when I'm songwriting. And actually, the more I got away from it, stop thinking about what chords make sense and what fits in a key and whatever else. I gravitate towards a lot of modal mixture stuff, just natural. Like I don't think about, I'm gonna put a dominant flat 7 in here. I know what that is, but like I gravitate towards those things like crazy. Like I've got probably half my songs have some sort of modal mixture in them from verse to chorus and whatever, and I'm not consciously doing it. I'm just going for, I know that I want this chord, I know that I want it to go here.
Yeah.
And then I look back on it and go, oh, this thing's weird as hell. Like we made a weird chord progression for a folky song.
You and I are both versed in jazz theory. If you sit down long enough, you can probably find a connection, maybe.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yes.
In the end,
right.
mathematics.
You can explain everything.
You can explain everything, but the rubber, when the rubber hits the road, does it sound good? Whether it's, academic or not. I mean, lots of guys, did quite well with shooting from the hip. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's move to this guitar.
Right.
The name of the podcast is Number One Guitar, and I remember when we were going back and forth, you asked, Chris, what guitar should I bring? I said, Jeff, you bring the guitar you want to bring. Maybe it's like most guitar. Let me ask this question because I get one of 2 answers. How many guitars do you want?
I don't know. I think if we count, do we count basses?
Count them all.
All right. I think I've got 6 or 7.
6 or 7.
Yeah.
You brought this one.
Yeah.
Is this a main writing guitar, performance guitar? Is this the bulletproof one that you could throw against the wall and it stays in tune?
Yeah, I'm pointing at the chip.
Yes, there's a well-made chip in the corner.
Yes, it
A
is.
well-earned chip, right?
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
well-made.
Right.
Can you believe that?
Oh,
People spend a lot of money for some guy in
Oh,
a
I know,
fucking
the
factory to
relic-
chip up
the
their
relic
guitar.
thing.
Relic,
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? Don't make a better guitar player.
Nope.
But that's this one man's opinion. But
Yeah,
fire away.
I agree with you. That shit's funny. No, it is my go-to for everything. It's all those things. It's the one that I write on most often. We were kind of talking about that on the way in. Semi-hollow and hollow body guitars, they're everywhere. And I think there's a big reason for that.
They seem to be making quite a comeback.
Yeah.
Seem to be. Some dudes plays an old Epiphone that's like inspiring a lot of people. It's more of like a folky kind of guy. I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not placing it, but they're everywhere, right? Like
They should be.
there was a young woman last night who opened for John Moreland, Al, or I'm gonna mess up her last name, Orleander. But she was semi-hollow guitar plugged straight into the PA. That was her main guitar.
For the people that are watching, very thankfully, and I appreciate the audience is growing on these. I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you. For the non-guitar players, and there are quite a few non-guitar players watching, electric guitar is a solid piece of wood.
Oh, yeah.
A guitar like this is completely empty,
Mm-hmm.
and that is kind of an amalgam of the two. There's usually a wood piece that goes through the middle. Why do you go for a semi-hollow? As opposed to solid, or a full hollow.
So Swiss Army knife, right? Like it can kind of do everything, right? I'm a big believer that this thing is 10%, 90%,
100%,
right?
100%.
And I have people really frequently like scoping out, the guy in the front row scoping out the gear, like trying to figure out what you're playing and whatever else, and like. I've never played really nice guitars. Like I've played them, but I've never owned them and made them my tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
I play a lot of really mediocre level gear, and then you got the guy up there going like, "Well, what's that amp?" And I'm like, "It's $300 little tube amp." And no, it's got to be something special. It's got to. No, man, like that's
your guitar tone's
just what it
fantastic.
is.
I've sat next to you.
Well, that was a little nicer than the $300 one, but it's just a regular Fender. It's a Fender hot rod. It's a Fender hot rod, right? Like, it's nothing crazy, right? Like, it didn't go to some secret shop and have it modded, right? Like, it is what it is. Same thing with that. That's a semi-hollow Ibanez. What do they call them? It's the riff off of the 335, right?
Yeah,
but it's secondhand, regular run-of-the-mill guitar. Now I will say this, like on top of the Swiss Army thing, right? You can get a lot of different tones out of it.
Yeah.
Also, like being able to switch from fingerstyle and play kind of like a bass comp, kind of style,
Mm-hmm.
and get a nice full sound out of it, which is really hard to do on a single coil guitar. That is really nice because I do flip back and forth between those things where I'll take my pick out and really, dig and play a little harder and make it a little more snappy, and then the next song I'll switch in fingerstyle chord comp, block chords with like bass line stuff on the bottom. It can do it both. And
on this guitar.
On semi-hollows, yeah. Well, on semi-hollows purely because when you're standing in front of a drummer, a hollow body guitar is rough, but
it can be.
Yeah.
Oh, they can squeal.
Yeah.
They can squeal. If you turn them up, they can squeal.
tougher to keep control. But
technical question, and this you mentioned, I'm in full agreement with you. Any guitar player that I've ever heard worth of salt, it's 90% in their hands. The guitar has to be set upright. It has to work. It has to be straight. It cannot be like bent. All that stuff. Like I play a bent. That's bullshit. If it's not straight, it's going to sound out of tune.
Yeah.
But one thing that I will ask. You got an Ibanez semi-hollow. Do you use thick strings, thin strings?
Yeah.
That makes a huge difference to me,
yes.
At least as a player.
Yeah. Usually 11s is what I most often put on. I think everything I play on stage right now is 11s on it. Yeah, I think that's right.
Do you set all these guitars up the same way?
Yes.
Same strings, they feel the same?
Yep, for sure.
Another commonality
Mm-hmm.
that amongst guitar players that do this for a living.
Yeah.
same thing. It's gonna feel, most guys and women want the thing to feel the same regardless of the guitar.
Yeah.
So you put 11s, what, I mean, we're not sponsored by anything.
Right.
What kind of strings you use?
Oh, I am horribly lazy, so I use elixirs on everything because I don't have to change it very often.
That's the coated one, right?
They make two different coated ones. The nano one, I believe, is the thinner one. The blue package. It doesn't have that thick, like you can't feel the coating on it. It's like they dip it instead of like put that like silky wrap on it. So yeah, it doesn't feel like it's got that wrap, but it's still on there, and they last for friggin' ever.
They do last.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, there you go. Elixirs. Jeff Krauss himself.
Elixir, if you want to pay me, or send me some strings and pay me some money, I'm down
Elixirs.
for it.
Yeah. Going to JazzFest.
Right.
Couple weeks playing the strings on stage in front of thousands and thousands of millions of audience on video. This is the one. Now, another question is sometimes a lot of guitar players will have playing live guitars and recording guitars.
Well, right, yeah.
Is this and sometimes they do double duty.
Yeah.
How about this one here?
I mean, this one is the go-to for most things. I will, depending on the song, I will switch up guitars sometimes. I also have a Mexican telly that I gutted all the electronics out of and put upgraded electronics in that I use for when I'm playing more of the kind of, you know, I don't think what I play is, I don't call it country, right? When I have that kind of more like acousticy countryside song, then I'll switch to the telly sometimes. So it's more song by song than it is necessarily the setting. So if I'm recording, I'm using the same thing that I'm playing on stage. But when I go to a song that has more of a country-esque feel, then I might switch to the telly. And then I've got another P90 semi-hollow telly that's kind of right in the middle. You know, it's like, so I've got the
With the P90s.
yeah. So it's dark, medium, super bright. You know, I'll flip them from song to song.
That's the whole. Yeah. Well, that's a wide palette.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's the whole palette.
That's the whole. Yeah, that's the whole palette.
From telly to semi-hollow or hollow, but yeah, it's all. But this is.
That's it. I'm running it back. And I'm like, I know I've seen you with other guitars, but if I was gonna bet on it, I knew you. If I was to bet, I would say he's gonna come with this.
Yeah,
because this is the one that I've seen much more often than others.
Yeah.
JazzFest. Let's go there.
Yeah.
There's an application process. You put it in, and bring us through, man.
Man, I still. The day that I got the call, you know, I get my phone number's online, so I get spam calls like crazy. Like everybody gets spam calls, but like my phone's just always on do not disturb because so many spam calls I can't even deal. Mm-hmm. And I got this call, and it's like, hey, this is Andy from JazzFest. Give me a call. I was like, that's weird. So I called him back, didn't get a hold of him, and played phone tag for a little while, and then finally got on, and he just said, oh, why don't you play JazzFest? Like, how's this sound? And I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. It was just like, and then just went through the details. It was super. I was joking with somebody the other day who's played a lot of them, and said it's like the most laid back festival on the planet. I was like, yeah, I couldn't believe how casual like the conversation was. It was like, hey, you want to play? All right, sign your contract. Have a good day. It was like, wow, all right. Like it was that simple. For the next 2 days, I was like waking up being like,
was he fucking with me?
No, I was just like, did I just have like a really weird, really vivid dream? And I pull up my email, and like, no, that was real. All right, cool. And just phenomenally, I guess, honored is the way to put it. That, I mean, got a great time.
You should be, man.
Yeah.
You're talented.
Thank you, but
you're welcome.
It's the first time anybody's offered me a bigger stage. You know, it's like been playing those bar gigs and those hole in the walls.
First of many.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's kind of surreal, but I'm very excited about it. I'm gonna try to do it right and put on a nice show.
So they hired you on. You know, they certainly the one cool thing about being in music is nobody ever tells you what the fuck to do. If you got a gig, you show up. You can kind of bring whoever you want, and as long as you're relatively on time and
that's the first,
somewhat sober, things go well, or at least they start.
First question I asked, like, how many people can I fit on that stage?
Yeah, that's where I'm going. All right, so By your own admission, the biggest stage of your life, you get showcase is going to be, you know, the audience is tremendous online. It's just off the charts large. So you want to represent yourself. You want to make these songs known to the world. What are you bringing on stage? Who are you bringing on stage? Who or what or go?
Yeah. So normally when I play, I do like a 4-piece. So I do drums, bass, keys, and then me on guitar and vocals. That's usually just for the sake of, you know, I firmly believe anybody who plays in my band gets paid. Everybody gets paid before I do. So it's usually a 4-piece just because that's what works. That's what we can make work for the night and whatever else. So this time, adding a couple horns, adding some backup vocals. The cast is got Eric Bolivar on drums, Steven Bogenstengel on bass, Richard Rourke on keys, who's also releasing a bunch of music in his own thing. He's got this cool little like kind of soul revival kind of thing that he's putting out. And then Raf Z on trumpet. Oh man, I got a referral for a new person. I'm gonna forget his name. Got a saxophone. I haven't met him yet.
One of the fucking mysteries of people who are not involved in this is that anybody who gets on stage with another person, man or woman or their band, they're not all friends. They don't all know each other. Some of them met that day.
Yeah, a lot of I would say
obviously not this case.
No, we got rehearsals for next week, but I haven't met him yet. Anyway, and then Heather Burnham's gonna sing some backup vocals. So,
Heather Burnham is singing.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. It's funny, she can sing and she never lets anybody know. So we're gonna drag her out of her comfort zone.
Quite a few people know. Right. Quite a few people know on that day, brother.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I know, right?
No idea. I've been in her company a number of times.
She keeps it wrapped up. But
she sure does.
She's got that. I mean, she grew up, you know, in the church, singing in church, you know, and
no shit.
Southern church is a whole new world for learning how to sing. So.
Well, that's good. A church, you can tell the same as I.
Yeah. The
people who run through who are church trained, you can see it a mile away.
Yeah, it's wild.
You can see it a mile away.
Yeah.
They're quick ears.
Mm-hmm.
Very good at what they do.
Yep.
Sharp, fast.
Yep.
And excellent musicians. Or else they just get, you know, God doesn't want shitty musicians. I've kind of figured that out.
Right.
And in some cases, I've heard people say, I played in church, and I'm like, no, you didn't. You might have sung a couple and sung by yourself.
And I will say that there is a big difference between Northern church and Southern church.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a whole different game.
Exactly. What's the day look like? I mean, what's the inside track on? All right, so yes, Jeff Krauss and Broke Down Gramophone are going to play. These are the people that are going to be playing. What's the day look like?
The day of the show?
Yeah, what tell us,
we'll find
please
out.
Tell us. Oh, I know, I was like, it's supposed to go like this. But,
yeah, right.
But what, it's true, nothing ever goes.
Right.
But as far as you can guess, all right, you know what time's your set, and bring us through the day. You're going to wake up on JazzFest Sunday morning.
Yep.
Please, if you, whatever the date, stage, etc.
Yeah, it's the first Sunday, which is the 27th, and we are on at 4:20 on the Lanyap stage.
Interesting time.
I know, right? Everybody's been joking about that. Okay.
All right.
I'm not going to partake until after the set.
No studio juice beforehand.
I mean, I might. If I'm playing a show, I keep it to like 1, until I'm off stage.
Understood.
Yeah. And then I have plenty after I'm off stage.
Fair enough.
But no, I used to be real loose with that, and I can get away with playing the guitar a little bit inebriated, whichever substance you like. I can't sing well. Like, my voice goes out the window if I put drinking. So nope, that's I keep that. So I'm gonna show up early.
What time's the set?
The set's at 4:20.
4:20. That's right. I'm sorry.
No,
I was keeping on the 4:20.
Right.
4:20, first Sunday, the 27th.
Yep.
What stage?
Lanyap.
The Lanyap stage.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the one that's tucked back, like in the track where they parade the horses when it's the horse track. But.
And how long is the set?
quick 50 minutes, up and done.
Okay, and then for a little bit more of a technical thing, what's the? Do you get? I mean, you're bringing a band on that stage. You're not bringing a 3-piece guitar trio. You're bringing horns and keys and all that. How long do you have to sound check? The biggest gig of your life.
Yeah.
How long does that take?
Set up, sound check, and ready, set, go is 20 minutes.
Tight, but reasonable.
I mean, it's nice that
you're dealing with dudes. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they know.
Obviously, all the sound guys at JazzFest know what they're doing.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
And you're working with pros.
They're super. They're super professional. Like we've already got the advances and all the tech stuff's already buttoned up and ready to go. So they're gonna have all their stuff together. It's just us getting up on stage and go as fast as we can. And for anybody who's not done a festival thing before, that 20 minutes is actually nice.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times it's straight up like, okay, we got your guitar. Okay, we got your bass. Drums are good. Ready, set, go. Like it's literally
Ready,
3 minutes.
set, go.
Yeah.
And you trust the
And you
person on the desk, and you have no idea if it sounds like shit out.
Yep. Pray to whoever you pray
pray.
to, and hope it comes out all right.
Well, with the jazz sound folks, it's going to be that's never a question.
No,
I mean, no one. I've never. JazzFest is a function of musical preference, not good sound, bad sound.
Yeah,
it's all.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, I sat and watched Robert Plant. It sounded like a CD. I was sitting there with Owen. I was like, I had no idea sound could be that crisp, and I'm sure they're going to do the same thing.
Yeah, I have full faith in them.
Same thing.
Yeah,
same
absolutely.
thing. You write a lot of songs. You've got what's the? Are you going to go and please? What's plug the latest record?
Oh yeah. So as of last week was the last one came out. Live
in time for JazzFest. Well done. Well done. Be very clear here. Get your pencils and pens ready, folks. Here we go.
Yep. And then couple weeks ago dropped all the CDs off at OZ for those fine folks because they're great. We brag about this at living here because we get to see it all the time, but I have never seen another place that truly supports local music like New Orleans does. No. It's unlike anywhere I've seen, and OZ and the Jazz and Heritage Foundation are very closely tied and close knit. But they both it's wild how they've kept that alive in the world of Clear Channel taking over the world. They've kept this cool little actual new music interesting thing happening that somehow they've kept alive and well, and it's awesome. It's just absolutely great. That's what's on at home for me most of the time.
Yeah,
if the radio's on,
it's great. Show me New York City. Now, obviously, New York City has some community radio stations that kind of do that. That's definitely the case. I'm not saying that doesn't exist anywhere, but in New Orleans, for those folks that listen to WWOZ on the web, that's what people have going on in their houses all the time.
Yep.
That's what's downstairs in mine. I'm sure it's on yours.
Yep.
And it's not uncommon that I'll be at a friend's house or in my house, turn on the radio. Oh, Jeff's on the radio.
Yeah, that's great. I'd love to hear.
And a lot of the guys and girls that were sitting here, Kelly Love Jones.
Yeah.
She's gonna come and do it. She's on the radio. This is brilliant.
That's great.
Just kill it.
Yeah, and it's not to get hung up on this, but that the cool thing about it is it's one of the few places that the DJs still control their playlists, right? Like they play what they want to play, which happens very few places. So it's wild and all over the place. Sometimes you're listening to calypso jazz, and then all of a sudden next you're listening to Cajun fiddle music, and you never know what's coming sometimes, but the DJs get to play what they want to play, which is I think the only reason why it stays absolutely so unique, right?
God bless that.
Not just here's what's popular today.
And that's what keeps New Orleans New Orleans. That station is a fabric. Yeah. Is part of the fabric and has been since, I don't know, 71 or something, like a long time.
I don't know the exact.
It's been a long time, but I can't say enough support it. I send
absolutely.
money. I'm sure you send. I put this bumper sticker on the back of the car. Not just because if I never played a note, I'd be listening to the music.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it is not what it's the people of New Orleans, and people outside of New Orleans as well. Yeah. Classic jazz, all sorts of stuff. Oh, you know, everybody's got different likes. But WWOZ, God bless them, if you turn it on, you don't know what you're gonna hear. Maybe you won't be into it for personal taste, and that's cool. You go someplace else and come back a little later.
Yep.
Bingo. There's what you wanted to
exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
I love those guys. All right, we're gonna wrap it up, man. I cannot wish you more luck than I'm wishing you for JazzFest. May that experience be everything it should be, fun before anything else. Because if it ain't fun, fuck it. It ain't worth it. You know, it's when it's true. Yeah. It's hard work.
Yeah.
But have fun with it, brother.
I appreciate it.
You and Heather and
the
guys and girls in the bands go up there and knock the shit out of it. I'll be in the front row.
Yeah, right on. I'm looking forward.
I'm serious.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Shit, if I could bring my dog, I could. They don't let the dog go.
Dogs, yes. Yeah.
Brother, absolute best of luck. Thank you for taking the time. I know you literally wrote horn parts this morning and are going home to finish up those horn parts, and you have a rehearsal later today. You're a busy man, my friend.
Gotta get ready.
A busy man.
Do all the work so we can go play.
That's it. Jeffrey.
Appreciate it.
Jeff Krauss broke down gramophone. New record's called?
Live Marini Studios.
Live at Marini Studios. All right. We will see you out there, and we will see you, my friend, at JazzFest.
I'll see you walking around.
All right, that's episode. Yeah, I'll see you walking around. Yeah, exactly. I'll see you with the dog.
Right.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Best of luck. Thanks for making the time. And that's
episode
7.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, brother. Take care.